Alternate universes. How's it going, folks? Jack here with another video. And alternate universes has got to be one of the greatest things to ever come out of comic books, because when I grew up, when I started to actually get invested into reading comics and buying some myself, one of the things that I used to hate the most was retcons, retroactive continuities, which is basically where the writers have a tendency of never wanting to let the hero die.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be dead?
Despite the fact that there would be legacy characters who would come and take over, new teams that would be formed that at times even would be better than the original one to undertake certain missions. No, some were way too popular to ever be let go, so they had to be brought back in the same roles, doing the same bloody things over and over again. So obviously, creating a multiverse, which became such a massive concept that both Imprint and even, of course, we've seen the likes of the Invincible or Image Comics do the same thing. But out of all of the companies that do this thing, I think that Marvel have some of the wackiest ones. Now, this is not to say that DC has not been catching up. DC have some pretty fucked up stuff, and the Ultimate, which I actually decided to order some, right? The Ultimate Universe being both Batman, Wonder Woman, at least the editions that I ordered, and Superman, are pretty freaking rad. So given that I have gotten into a little bit of a flow of making my own content as well and not just reacting to other people's, expect something like that from me in the near future. But first, starting with Michio freaking Kaku here, let's talk about the worst alternate universe in Marvel.
I believe we exist in a multiverse of universes. This is a famous quote from Michio Kaku. Yeah, I have no idea who this guy is.
Famous quantum physicist. He dabbles in astrophysics once in a while. I have my criticism of the guy, but he once short-circuited his neighborhood's grid by creating a collider in his parents' garage. Quite the man.
I just thought it would make me sound profound if I put a quote at the start of the video. Okay, so apparently he's just like a Asian Einstein or something.
And electrons have waves associated with them.
Anyways, in this video I wanted to talk about the Marvel multiverse. Everyone already knows that there's different realities in the Marvel universe. I mean, just take a look at Spider-Man, for example. We got Black Spider-Man, we got Mexican Spider-Man from the future, we got White Spider-Man, we got White Spider-Man, we got White Spider-Man, all from different realities. And these timelines, you know, they're cool and all, but what about the ones that are bad? I'm talking about the ones from the comics.
Oh! Hallelujah. Let's freaking start with the Ultimate Universe, and oh, he's gonna mention Ultimatum. He has got to. But yeah, this is the place where we got Miles Morales, Nick Fury, the motherfucking kind, and some of the others who got inevitably merged into the main timeline because of the, what was it called, the Incursion? Yeah.
Kicking it off is the original Ultimate Universe, which doesn't exist anymore because it merged with the mainline universe. AKA the sales weren't doing so hot, so they wanted to pick and choose the successful characters and move them onto the mainline universe. Miles Morales. Anyways, essentially the Ultimate Universe was a different reality that was almost like a mirror of the mainline Marvel universe. It launched in the early 2000s and it was supposed to be like a modern reimagining of the Marvel universe to draw in new readers. It was pretty popular at its time, but unfortunately a series of shitty writing just killed off any interest for this universe. I'm of course talking about Ultimatum, which is possibly one of the worst Marvel comic storylines ever written.
The Edge. Oh, I like the art style. It reminded me of, like, I mentioned Image Comics, right? There's a lot of, like, some of the big titles there that have that art style, like extremely bulky dudes and dudettes that are just doing the wackiest stuff.
This storyline is so unnecessarily edgy, and it just kills basically every fan favorite character that anyone would ever have.
It's basically the okay, hold on. We need to have this moment, this legendary moment, save it first.
Just kills basically every fan favorite character that anyone would ever have.
Help me! So good. But yeah, it's basically the equivalent of Game of Thrones for Marvel. Everybody dies, there's some Sweet Home Alabama there, and yeah, Everybody's wrong.
A bunch of heroes die because of natural disasters. Doctor Strange gets strangled by his own cloak.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Giant Man goes searching for his wife,
Oh yeah,
Wasp,
who gets
only
eaten?
to find her dead corpse getting eaten by the Blob. They are all very distressed upon seeing this, so, Blob in all his infinite wisdom decides to try and defuse the situation by saying, tastes like chicken. So Giant Man decides to calmly respond by grabbing the Blob and taking a chunk out of him with his mouth. Typical comic book shenanigans. And then Magneto decides to become a genocidal maniac because his children died, which is pretty ironic considering most iterations of his character he's held in a World War II concentration camp.
Which is supposed to be the whole thing that sparked the entire issue, which is fucking weird because, like, a lot of you may know of the similitude between, or at least the assumed similitude between Martin Luther King and Professor wow, Malcolm X with Professor X and Magneto. It makes sense, right? Because the X-Men have always had a lot of things projected onto them. But the association of like civil rights movement on the X-Men. But in reality, the persons that they inspired, or at least the characters that they inspired, were based off of two Zionist leaders actually from Israel. So yeah,
this dude Magneto straight up strapped bomb vests to a guy who could duplicate himself. Then Magneto finds out that mutants only exist because they botched a super soldier experiment, instead of being an evolutionary step up from humans. Upon learning that fact, his brain figuratively explodes as he's left there awestruck. And then his head literally explodes when Cyclops hits him with that left mouse click. Then Cyclops gets shot by a mysterious assassin who actually turned out to be Quicksilver.
Who
His
wasn't dead.
death that kickstarted the beginning of the story actually never happened.
Bruh.
He then grabs his father's helmet and does a fucking Kylo Ren Darth Vader where he's like, I will continue your dream.
And he's so ugly. Ugh. Ugh.
Wow, what an amazing story, guys. But don't worry, guys, it gets better. Did you know that the famous sibling duo Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver
the maximum of twins attempted to achieve the maximum of human potential by gene maxing, you know? So fucking dumb.
regularly engage in incest?
You don't get it, Mr. Rogers, do you? They love each other.
Of
course they do.
They're brother and sister.
No, it's more than that. They're in love.
But they're brother and sister.
Yep. And if you think we've got a problem with the Tony Stark sex video, which is a literal thing in here, just wait until somebody in the media figures them out. And someone will.
But don't worry, guys, it gets even better. Because Wolverine likes to watch.
It's like you can laugh about these issues, right? But the further you go into it, you go like, who greenlit this? Who was like, hey, Logan the perv, he can't control his animalistic instinct. He wants to see two sibling shebang.
I'm over here stroking my dick.
Moving on to the Noir universe, set in the 1930s. You know how Uncle Ben dying is a canon event in every universe? Well, in this one, instead of getting shot by a mugger, he actually gets eaten alive by a cannibal version of the Vulture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, also the X-Men are a group of powerless sociopathic criminals. What the fuck? You know how in X-Men lore, mutants are regarded as an evolutionary step up from humans? Well, in the Noir universe,
Delinquency.
sociopathic people are seen as the step up in the evolution of humans, according to this version of Professor X.
Who is an absolute psychopath. Oh my god, oh Man Logan, I forgot. How could I forget about this? I know that some are going to say like, but Jack, have you not seen Logan the movie? I have. But there's so many elements missing in that movie, such as, for example, the freaking T-Rex right here, that is Venom, Hawkeye, the Hulk family. Yeah, we spoke of Sweet Home Alabama before. Strap in, folks.
And in case you guys couldn't get enough of incest and cannibalism, we have the Hulk from the old Man Logan universe.
Ew.
The Hulk in this universe is basically a hillbilly crime lord who runs a gang of inbred children that he had with his cousin, She-Hulk.
Now, what do you say to this? What do you say to this issue? Now, I'll be one to admit that Old Man Logan, the story, has some amazing moments, okay? It is one of the few times where Hawkeye, as an example, has had his time to shine. But despite me having like somewhat of a penchant for, you know, muscular women, orcish looking ones. God, I can never escape that self-intact moment of him showing She-Hulk in a, what was it, a Deep Rock Galactic video. Don't do my girl like this!
And he eats people. Yay! Why do all these universes share the same, like, why, what the fuck? So basically in this universe, all the heroes are either dead or in hiding because the villains had the bright idea to actually work together for a change instead of constantly backstabbing each other.
Red Skull
and you know
had
what?
a
It worked out for them because they
grand
finally
time.
won. Gee, why didn't they think of that sooner? Also, Wolverine kills all of the X-Men because Mysterio pulls an epic prank on him and makes him think that they're all villains.
Prank him, John.
And after that traumatic experience, he vows to never pop his claws ever again. Until he pops his claws again. Guys, look, Venom T-Rex. Isn't that's so cool. I love this universe. Next up, we have the Ruins universe.
Okay, this guy just chose all the okay, he did emphasize the worst. He wasn't kidding. Now hear me out. The writer of Marvel Ruins is Warren Ellis. Look-wise, Warren Ellis looks like the arch redditor, okay? You cannot find, well, he's not that big, but if you had to look for a representative of what a redditor is supposed to look like, you will see a picture of Warren Ellis. That being said, he's an amazing writer. He wrote some of my favorite issues on Moon Knight, right? The psychosis and all. He also has Planetary and what else did he write that was very good? He has some other Marvel issues, but Ruin is fucked up. That's all I can say about it. Let's watch the video.
Which is actually probably the worst one on here. In this universe, anything that would have given you powers instead gives you a terrible deformity, or just straight up kills you. The storyline follows a reporter who is capturing and documenting all of these strange anomalies. His name is Sheldon, by the way. He's basically trying to figure out where it all went wrong. The Avengers were a rebel group that got destroyed by the government after getting sold out by their teammate Scarlet Witch.
The insurrection.
The Kree, who are an alien race in the Marvel Universe, were bombarded by nuclear warheads, effectively killing most of them. The survivors were then put into concentration camps in the US, slowly dying of radiation poisoning. Silver Surfer went crazy. He went stupid. And he basically ripped himself apart because he thought he couldn't breathe in space. Nick Fury is an ex-government agent who went insane. He agrees to meet with Sheldon, and he's like, I've seen a lot of shit, man. You wouldn't believe the bruh moments I've seen. He also claims that he was introduced to cannibalism by Captain America, and that he's been clean since.
Wow. Of course he has. Let's wait and see what he actually does in this book within like 5 pages.
Oh, guys, another universe, another cannibal. You know, I'm starting to notice a pattern here with all these different timelines. I would say take a shot every time a cannibal is mentioned in these alternate realities, but at this rate you probably wouldn't survive to see tomorrow. The two men then get interrupted by Jean Grey, who...
Yo, Jean was not beating the allegation in this one.
In this universe is trying to pimp herself out for $20, to which Nick Fury calmly responds by GTAing her.
Hey baby, you looking for a date?
No thanks, gorgeous. I'm happily married.
And then he offs himself after. Also, the president... President of the United
No. You are not just dodging that.
No thanks, gorgeous. I'm happily married.
and then he
You just remember, I'm clean. We killed America with a Patriot missile last week. I should be screaming right now. This entire thing is so messed up. That panel there? No, let's wait.
offs himself after. Also, the President of the United States in this universe is Professor X,
Xavier,
and he sends all of the mutants into a special prison in Texas. In this prison, you can find all of your favorite X-Men, including Kitty Pryde, who died trying to phase through her cell, and Cyclops, who was blinded in this universe, so he can't shoot beams anymore. Nightcrawler, but instead of teleporting, he's
He
eating
eats
himself. And who could forget about Quicksilver?
It's not Sweet Home Alabama this time.
Except they cut off all his limbs, so he looks like this now. And you're probably wondering, where is Wolverine? Great question. Well, see, he's slowly getting poisoned by the metal in his body. Why did they write this? You know, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you.
It's worse. Come on. You know what they do to him here? To Logan? Logan is basically a circus freak in this entire thing. He, like Logan tends to do, visits a bar where the barkeep makes him show his scars, how the adamantium in his blood is poisoning him, making his bone and flesh decay. And he has to, like, let people have a peek. Like, he's literally a tourist attraction. A freakish tourist attraction, and that pays for his drinks. Let us dive into the Hulk, Spider-Man, and Mystique.
Poisoned by the metal in his body. Why did they write this? You know, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. Remember how in the mainline Marvel universe, the gamma radiation turned Bruce Banner into the Hulk?
Yeah.
Well, in this universe, it turned him into a giant mass of tumors. Oh yeah, did I mention that Peter Parker is Sheldon's co-worker? And he looks like this because he's suffering from the effects of the radioactive spider bite.
It's so fucked up. Hulk here is alive. This is him. He's not dead. The gamma ray did not just make him like turn into a blob and so he died. No. They kept him alive. They have him in a lab, locked down, and he keeps morphing. His tumors keeps on growing, and he is in constant pain. Warren Ellis, ladies and gentlemen.
Slowly dying and succumbing to a highly infectious rash that's developing all over his body. The very same highly infectious rash that spread to Sheldon, and yeah, he's dead. So, yeah, what a great story this is.
Okay. So some of the things that he may have missed here. In the start, he has this moment where he is sitting in a plane next to a lady. That is Mystique. Now, Mystique is holding very dearly to her chair because she's on medication. Medication that is done or prescribed to her because her ability to shift gave her multiple personality disorder. So she has to constantly take meds to prevent the psychosis from happening. But because he managed somehow, wherever he goes, to trigger all of these events, she loses it and starts morphing on her own and takes on all the different shapes that she has had, all the amalgamation in just one. And she just dies. And as he steps off the plane, there's Magneto, who is essentially a bomb, and he fucking dies as well. Freaking Thor. Thor is like the old gods of Asgard from Alan Wake 2, where they are like old people who believe themselves to be like the old Nordic gods, but he's just like a dude with a hammer. Just a crazy old man with a hammer. The Fantastic Four. Let's not even talk about them. They got absolutely obliterated. They were like in the space race against the Russians and they got fucked up. It is such a dark universe. I both love and absolutely hate it. Because there's like edge, but man, do you need to be so edgy?
Yeah, what a great story this is. And I know all the Galactus fans out there, all 5 of them, are wondering, you know, where's Galactus in all of this? Well,
Yeah,
he's
he's
dead. He's
dead.
just floating in space. His fucking dead body is floating near Mars. Yeah, so those were some pretty amazing alternate timelines in the Marvel multiverse. I'd highly recommend never reading any of these storylines. But you know what I would recommend? Subscribing to my second channel. Over there, I'm going to be posting pack openings and maybe even gameplays. If we could hit 1,000 subscribers on the other channel, I will be the happiest man in the multiverse.
It's fucking insane, man. Like, with Rorin, there's a thing here where Ellis has this thing where the ridiculousness, if you've read the stuff that he does with Moon Knight, that it feels so edgy that it becomes funny. That tends to be like a thing that at least I have paid attention to. So normally it will come off as being kind of goofy in the way that Moon Knight has his dialogue with his multiple personalities sometimes. But here, because of the way that the art style is made, everything is just gross and disturbing. It's like, wow, dude, don't do that. But anyways, there are like 2 more of these, so I'm looking forward to that. So folks, thank you so much for checking this out. Please do make sure to go and subscribe to Azon here, and yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.